When I was a kid, I loved manicotti night. So my mom would make this, and my version is a cheesy vegetable manicotti recipe.
Okay, all right.
All right, yeah, I'm adding a little veg to it.
We'll do it, I'll do it already.
Yep. All right, so Sunny, I'm gonna have you help me here. The manicotti is already cooked. You just kind of par cook these, not all the way of what the box instruction says, you know, give them a few minutes less since they're gonna go in the oven.
Okay.
And first I'm gonna make the mixture. So I already sauteed some zucchini and squash and onions, and I'm gonna add to that some ricotta cheese. An egg. This helps everything hold together, but it also gives it some richness too. Some Parmesan cheese.
Hey, you could use like frozen cut vegetables, right?
Completely, yeah. Cook them first to get out some of that water.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could just do frozen. And some parsley. Gonna hit it with a little bit of salt.
Lots of parsley,
A little bit of pepper in there. And then this just gets mixed up here. I've got the measuring cup here with the zip top bag in it. Fill it up, then you close it, then you snip it off, and then you fill the shells, okay?
Right.
And while you do that, I'm gonna make our sauce. You just take a can of San Marzano tomatoes. I like those because they're the sweetest, they're the best canned tomatoes you can buy. 28-ounce can. You're gonna put them in the blender, pulse them up. So all you do to this, add some salt to it.
Like a pizza sauce, right? Basically.
Add some pepper to it. Add some fresh basil to it. And it's gonna cook in the oven. And like I said, these tomatoes are such good quality that they don't even really need to cook that much. I put a cup of it down here, and then I'm just gonna put these in our 9x13. So this is great to assemble ahead of time. You can, then just have to pop it in the oven, or you can even wrap this up and freeze it, and then all you have to do is take it out, add cheese to it, and bake it. So now I'm gonna take the sauce, the rest of it, and pour it over the top.
Beautiful color.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah,
When you don't cook out the sauce, it's
bright and rich that is.
I want to get a gold medal for manicotti filling.
You didn't even need a piping bag or a pastry chip, nothing. You did
And
that.
I'm not even Italian, you know what I'm saying?
All right, more cheese. We've got shredded mozzarella going on top of this.
Oh, yeah.
So 3 cheeses in here, the ricotta, the mozzarella, and the Parmesan. And we're gonna do a little bit more Parmesan, because it's comfort food night, so why not,
And I mean, there's veggies all up in there, Katie,
That's
come on.
exactly right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna pop this in the oven.
Can I mention how fast this is? You could probably do this whole thing in 15 minutes from scratch.
Okay.
Mommy would be proud.
I think Mom would be happy.
proud.
Mom, you watching? Did I do okay? Fresh parsley.
I'm not missing any of the meat or anything.
My ultimate cheesy chicken parm, okay? This is a red sauce joint staple, starting with the chicken, which we butterflied. We lightly pounded so it's even Steven throughout. Season, little salt, little pepper directly on the chicken. We're gonna run it through the feb, flour, egg, and the canister of breadcrumbs, Italian seasoned breadcrumbs.
I love that.
How long it's been there in the pantry? I don't know, Ma.
Since you were a kid.
Since
As
I
long
was
as
a
it
kid.
doesn't smell like the pantry, it's still good.
No, it doesn't. That's why they have that nifty little top on there. Add a little bit of your famous Parmigiano Reggiano grated right into the breadcrumbs, please. I got some nice medium heat here, large skillet, olive oil. We're gonna fry these babies till golden brown. Now, let's get the very special application of cheese. We're not just gonna bake this, right? You spend all this time frying this beautiful piece of meat or vegetable, and then you drown it in sauce, in cheese, and bake it.
No.
And then why did I fry it? Right, it's good flavor. It's a wonderful technique to prepare a protein, but at the end of the day, you're just kind of decimating the texture of that exterior fry on there, that crispiness. Sauce here that you can ladle right from there, or just do a nice fresh sauce. Next, some freshly grated, low moisture, whole milk mozzarella.
Okay.
It melts the best. It's got the best chew. And we're gonna take about a half a cup of this directly onto this, starting in the middle, right? Alex, our oil looks perfect right now, ready to accept the cutlet. I am gonna get that oven ready to accept our cheese and sauce. Thank you, Jeffrey. We got it on broil, and the rack is about two levels down, okay? You don't want it too close, you don't want it too far. It's gotta be the Goldilocks zone of broilage, and that takes time and experience.
Do you watch broil? Because I am so afraid to walk away from broil.
Yep, I am not gonna walk too far, because this could take about 5 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever.
This is really a classic Italian-American dish, isn't it?
Wow.
This didn't come from nowhere, Jeff.
I'm happy with the cutlets.
Look at this, first of all. That's what we're looking for. That's all flavor right there. Cheese browns nicely, gives a lot of
And
salt.
it doesn't take a lot of time. People, I think, overcook their chicken cutlet.
Agreed.
I'm sorry.
All right, I'm gonna start plating my chicken while those are still going. I got some keeping warm on a wire rack sheet tray at 200.
Oh, yeah.
That's how I do
RTG. Look at these beauts.
Gorgeous.
I mean, right? Watch your hand there. I don't want to.
By the way, that's
borrow
a,
your
that's a secret that you can use. French toast, pancakes, bacon, anything you cook, rack, oven, 200 degrees. Here's the moment,
I
people.
can't wait to see this technique.
I know what's gonna happen.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
It's going to be
boy.
like a...
Dim the lights. Can we dim the lights?
Are we doing a... Is this like a pizza volcano? Is that like a volcano?
Oh, look at
sauce?
this.
Wait,
God.
what? Oh, I'm gonna like this.
All right, here we go.
Do it, Jeff.
Are you ready?
Yes, Jeff.
This is it. This is it.
Oh, my
How's this for an angle? We good on that?
Yeah, watermelon.
Three,
cut it.
2, 1.
Stop it right
Yes!
now.
Perfect.
Stop it right
Oh, making farm, making farm.
my
Chicky
God.
Chicky farm, chicky farm. Here we go. You ready for number
I just
2?
want to get it, Jeff.
Do it again, Jeff.
Oh.
Look at this. I might.
I need, forget a tableside Caesar. We need a tableside chicken
Oh,
parm.
man.
Pass it on down.
Right to the table.
Come on,
right to your
Phils.
family. Preserved.
Preserved
crust-
crunchiness.
That gives it some real restaurant vibes at home. That's
Yes,
the thing.
yes.
You know, that's that restaurant level trick that you just do at home so
Can I
easy.
tell you what I
Can I
especially
have
like?
this for the
You
sauce?
didn't, like,
Please.
you
Put it in
didn't
the
adorn
sauce.
this
Look
with
at
basil
this.
or anything like
Oh,
that, because
no.
it doesn't need it.
Oh, no. You don't need no garnish. The garnish is a cheese garnish,
That's
GZ.
it. You saw it. It's
Yeah.
table side. It's table. You could do
You could
this.
totally do this table side in the
amazing.
middle of your kitchen, in the
I'm
middle
doing
of your
it.
table.
Yeah, you're gonna do it table side at your next
Absolutely.
restaurant?
I
And
love
I'm going to give
this.
Philly and you credit.
Jeff, this is the perfect chicken parm because, like you said, it stays crunchy. There's no soggy crust from it sitting in the sauce. And it's so cheesy, you have to really chew because you get a lot of cheese in there.
It's like mozzarella gum.
I love this.
That-
like
that baked.
love it. It is fabulous.
I'm making my easy, beefy, cheesy enchilada casserole. All right, I'm gonna start building up some of the base flavor for the red sauce for my enchiladas. I got some tomato paste. Just gonna get a couple of tablespoons in out of my can here. If you end up with tomato paste left over, do what I do. Just put it in a plastic bag and flatten it out and put it in the freezer so the next time you make a soup or a red sauce or your easy, beefy, cheesy enchilada, you can just kind of break off a piece like a brick. Lot simpler, and then you don't waste stuff the whole can. All right, so now I'm gonna stir this into my onions. Remember, I started with just a little bit of olive oil, some onions, and some salt so they could sweat out. It's okay to kind of jack up the heat on that right now. All right, now in this pan right here, remember I got my onions in. I minced up some garlic, put that in there as well with my yellow and my green bell pepper halves. To that, I'm gonna add some ground beef, 1.5 pounds. It's gonna go in because we're making beef enchiladas. You can do chicken, I don't know, you could do turkey if you like. Any kind of enchiladas you wanna make are just fine with me. A little onion powder goes in here. I know I have onions in here, but the powder, it just has like a more deeper, intense flavor. And then I'm gonna put some cumin in to both of my pans, both in the beef side and in my sauce. Whoop, whoop. Don't go too far. Sprinkle it around. But you know, what I'm gonna add right now is something that I always have in my pantry, good for Spanish and Latin meals. It's kind of like the bouillon cube or packet of Latin cooking, and that's sazon. Let me tell you, so much stuff is in here. We've got some color going on with the achiote, saffron, there's cilantro in here, just a lot of goodness that's kind of like you just can't get anywhere else, so it's good to put one full packet in. I'm just gonna make this nice and brown, get some color on my ground beef here before I add in some of the beef broth. Of course, if you're doing chicken, you can add chicken broth. You can add veggie broth if you want, but I like to kind of get all the flavors in there. I'm gonna get my little can ready to go for my red sauce of my whole tomatoes. Really quick, I'm getting in my Roma tomatoes. Just went ahead and seeded them, and I'm getting them chopped down to size into the beefy part of my easy beefy cheesy enchilada casserole I'm gonna make here. All right, now on my red sauce side here, I'm gonna go ahead and give this a taste before I add my beef stock, but it started pretty much the same as I did the beefy side. Just a little bit of salt. I started with some onions, some garlic, sweated them down. Then I added some tomato paste and cooked it down to it was nice and golden, deep reddish brown. That's just gonna really help with the depth of flavor here. And of course, a whole can of peeled tomatoes with their juices. A little bit of broth over the top at the end here to kind of loosen it up. And this is gonna be perfect. Right down in your 13 by 9, get a nice big old ladle of the sauce. Look at that. Just move it around, make sure it completely covers everything. Then I've got my corn tortillas here. Overlap them a little bit, and then keep on moving down. And now right on top of this layer, I'm gonna go ahead and put some of the beef. See, just like layering up, just like layering up. Right over the top. Now don't use all of the beef, just about half of it. I'm gonna make 2 layers of meat, 3 layers of tortilla, and in between the layers of meat and tortilla, I'm gonna throw on some cheddar cheese and some Monterey Jack cheese, nice and oozy and cheesy. Easy, beefy, cheesy, enchilada casserole. Nice healthy sprinkle of cheddar cheese over the top here for my easy, beefy, cheesy enchilada casserole. Gonna get it right into my oven, 350 degrees, for about, I say 30, 35 minutes. Layer upon layer of flavor there. At the bottom, we've got the sauce that I made. Homemade sauce, it's a good thing to do.
What's up, everybody? I'm Eddie Jackson, and this is Eddie's Game Day Playbook. Now, today, you're gonna make 2 things that I think should have been married a long time ago: buffalo chicken and macaroni and cheese. This entire dish is gonna take about an hour, so you can prepare this the day of and be ready to roll when all of your friends come over. It's gonna be a touchdown for today's game. I have some beautiful boneless chicken thighs. Dark meat is the best meat, in my opinion, hence myself. I'm gonna season them up on both sides with a little of this black pepper, a little celery salt. One of the first things that I remember cooking with my grandmother back in the day was macaroni and cheese, but I don't think my grandmother ever put buffalo chicken on top of it. Boom. We're gonna add a little butter to this, all over, don't miss any spots. Woo! Boom. A little hot sauce. I'm gonna pop them in the oven for about 30 minutes, and I'm gonna get started on my cheese sauce. I'm gonna make a roux. I'm from Texas, and right next door to Louisiana. So I think I know a little bit about making a roux. So we're gonna take 3/4 of a stick of this butter, let that melt down, and then we're gonna add our aromatics. A little onion, we got a little celery. We got a 1/2 cup of flour in. Next, gradually add this milk, then very, very slowly, a little bit at a time. So we wanna add a total of 5 cups. Oh, can I do 2 things at the same time? Let's see. Oh, I can't do it. Let's go ahead and start adding our cheese. Now, this is by far one of my favorite cheeses. This is smoked Gouda. This is like cheese gold, in my opinion. It's my favorite cheese. A little Parmesan, a little cheddar. This is getting nice and creamy, nice and thick, exactly how you want it. So I'm actually gonna take the pasta and put it directly into this sauce. Mix that all up. Oh, yeah. Now we have to get our chicken out. All right, so I'm gonna grab a couple of forks and I'm just gonna pull this chicken apart. Man, I wish you could smell this. Now it's time to quarterback this thing. We're gonna put it all together. Look at all that creamy goodness going on in there. I know, right? Your mouth is starting to water. I have some blue cheese here, and all I'm gonna do is just take off, and we're just gonna dollops all over. Last but not least, we're gonna top it off with our breadcrumbs. I might just eat this all by myself for everybody to get here. We're gonna pop this in the oven at 425 degrees for about 15 minutes. And when this baby comes out, it is gonna be game time. Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah, perfect. Last thing I wanna do is add the rest of this tangy blue cheese right on top. I think I actually might be considered the quarterback of queso after making this mac and cheese. Boom. It's time to dig in. Man, this thing is heavy. Whew. Perfect timing.
Something smells good.
It's gonna be good too.
I bet.
So guess what we got? Buffalo chicken mac and cheese.
Is that so?
Come on, come on, huh? What you think, Big Dom?
Eddie, you're doing something right here. But I'm gonna need the recipe. Just saying.
Wow. I love buffalo chicken, and let me tell you, I love mac and cheese, and together,
Let's go catch some game.
Game time, baby.
yeah.
Let's do it.
I'm starting by sauteing some onion and garlic in a little bit of olive oil and butter. I've got the onions diced really fine. Don't want to have great big chunks. Okay, I'm gonna let the onions cook for a sec while I chop up some fresh herbs. I have some yummy oregano leaves. I pulled them off the stems. And then I also have some fresh thyme. These stems are so delicate, I'm just gonna chop them with the oregano. Okay, now all of these yummy herbs are gonna go in with the onions and garlic. Smells so good. This is a good time to add a pinch of salt and pepper. And I'll stir it all together. And then I need to cook the onions until they're totally soft and translucent. It's gonna take about 5 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna check on these onions. Oh, they look great. Okay, I'm gonna turn up the heat to about medium-high. And I've got a can of tomato paste, and I'll add a couple of tablespoons. It's really thick. And then for about 30 seconds, I'm gonna stir the tomato paste into the onions and garlic and let it start to fry. If you can fry it on the bottom of the pan, it just deepens the flavors. And this is a great time to deglaze the pan with some white wine. I happen to have a bottle. It's just Sauvignon Blanc, but you can use Chardonnay, Pinot Grigio, whatever you happen to have in your fridge. I usually add about a half a cup. I've got 2 cans of stewed tomatoes. And then 32 ounces of just bottled tomato juice. I like to add sugar to my tomato soup because there is so much tomato going on that it can get a little bit acidic. And the sugar kind of calms that down a little bit. It's nice to have the subtle sweetness. I'll do just a little over 2 tablespoons, and that should be good. Now all I have to do is bring the soup to a boil, and then I'm gonna simmer it for 10 minutes. See you after that. The tomato soup has been simmering away, and truth be told, it is perfect as it is right now. I cannot help myself though. I love to add cream to my tomato soup. You can kind of eyeball it and add between a half a cup and a cup. I'm gonna add some basil. And then this is cheesy tomato soup, so I've got 2 kinds of grated cheese. I've got Parmesan and Pecorino Romano. Yummy, sharp combination. And then I'll stir it in, and it's so finely grated that the 2 cheeses are just gonna become one with the soup in no time. How good does this soup look? I'm gonna go ahead and dish it up into a bowl. And I'm using a pretty big bowl. You can sort of grab whatever bowl is oven-proof in your cabinet. I've got 2 croutons. I just sliced from a loaf of bread, and I put them in the oven after smearing them with olive oil, and I just baked them until they were crisp and slightly golden. And then I'm breaking out another cheese. I've got some regular cheddar cheese, and I'm laying little slices on top of each crouton. Now I'm gonna put this under the broiler. This looks splendid. Okay, to finish it off, I'm gonna sprinkle on a little bit of parsley, more herbage. Well, 1 pot, 1 bowl, sheer heaven. Perfect.
My pimento cheese stuffed burger on a toasted brioche bun, stacked high with a fried heirloom tomato, homemade ranch dressing, crispy bacon, and a cabbage slaw. The key to great pimento cheese is starting off with great cheese. So I've got some cheddar here, about half and half, the white and yellow cheddar. Looks good. Now we'll get in with the pimentos. Now, you can make your own pimentos, you can buy your pimentos, you can add as many as you want. I'm gonna go with maybe a half a cup. Touch of some salt, pepper, a little bit of cayenne. Again, this is kind of where you wanna go with it. Cream cheese, a little mayo, and a little Dijon. It's just gonna pulse it, bring it together, scooping this out. Just getting a roll on it. Okay, about 2 inches in diameter is what we're looking for. Give it a little twist. Right like that. Voila. Okay, take this, lay it down in the fridge. And while I'm in the fridge, a little buttermilk. Little dill. Let's get into this. Little buttermilk. Some sour cream. Little mayo. Now, before I bring in the spices, let me grab a little bit of sugar. Kind of a little bit of that sweet, okay? Offsetting some of the big spices that are coming in right now, okay? Let's start off with a little garlic, a little onion powder, and some smoked paprika. Let me get a touch of some salt and some black pepper. Now, a little cayenne, just a touch of heat. There we go. Okay, now this is the real kicker. This is what makes everything that you love about ranch dressing really comes from this, and that's the dill. About 3 tablespoons. There we go. Give it a little whisk. That's exactly what we're looking for. Seeing that nice, beautiful green just studded throughout that. All right, let me cover this up real quick. Okay, this goes down in the fridge. So here's the next piece. We're gonna talk about green tomatoes, fried green tomatoes. It's something you see in the South everywhere you go, but I couldn't find any green ones. So, well, I just went with a really nice firm heirloom tomato. But nonetheless, it's gonna be fantastic. So putting it into a dredge here, first start off with a little flour with a little granulated garlic. Then went into a little buttermilk and egg with a little salt and pepper, and then some fine cornmeal here with a little salt and pepper. Set this aside, just gonna get set that down, unwrap it. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna make 4 burgers, but 8 patties. So the first thing I'm gonna do is cut that in half, dividing that equally into 4, okay? Now I'll just divide this one, that one. Now everybody's got kind of an equal amount, right? Here's what we do. Take the patty, not pressing it too hard. Nice patty, firm edges. Doing this ahead of time. See this little move that I'm doing here with my thumb? Check this out. So I take the patty, and then I'm bringing my thumb in to really establish the edge. So I'm not having this little flimsy edge where it's kind of just tapering off, and those are the ones when you cook them and they just kind of end up falling into the fire. Okay, here we go. So there's one done. Here we go, we'll grab some of the pimento cheese. Might be a little bit heavy. There we go. Drop it right in the center. Now, bringing the other one over, right on top, mirroring it. Gonna give it a little pinch, bring in the meat together, and then back to that same little technique that I just did, where I'm gonna come and establish the edge again. So really brought them together, really formed them together, kind of pushed it, and then straight across. It's even in the middle. Drop the burger. Now, normally when you've seen Guy's Big Bite, I'm pressing burgers. You go to Guy's Burger Joint on Carnival Cruise Line, I'm pressing burgers. You go to Guy's Vegas, I'm pressing burgers. But when it comes to a stuffed burger, we're gonna treat it nice and delicate so we don't break it open, so we don't lose all the surprise inside. Not overcrowding it. 4 would be the max I'd wanna do. Simply just a little bit of salt. And then when I flip it, I'll season the other side. Now we'll go ahead. There we go, those are the bubbles that I'm looking for. Again, don't crowd it. You're gonna drop that oil temperature. Now we're gonna talk about the buns. Nice brioche bun. Everybody's so conscious about eating all those carbs and eating the bread and so forth. I'll tell you what, when you're gonna do it right. Now I've got some roasted garlic butter here. Just gonna brush that on. Now let's talk about bacon. So here's the method. Take the bacon and just shingle it a little bit, okay? And we're gonna go from a cold pan, cold bacon, throw it in the oven, and we're gonna get those nice, uniform, evenly cooked pieces of bacon that we love that we find in restaurants. Okay, so this goes, lay it down. So here's the game plan. Take this, pop it in the oven, should be about 350. It'll give us beautiful bacon. And this, just as a little homage to my mom in North Carolina, that's where she was raised. Make a quick little slaw here, some nice vinegar. Just wilt this thinly sliced cabbage down. If I tried to sit here and cook this on the stovetop, by the time I cooked all the way through, I would have a 1/4 inch on both sides of just crunchy beef. The idea to cook it all the way through to really get that great flavor, we want to go ahead and finish it in the oven. So I finished it in the wood fire oven, finish it in your oven at 350. Either way, you're good to go. So we'll build a burger, little thin sliced onion on the bottom. Now, it's leaking a little bit of the pimento cheese. Fantastic, it shows you it's done. But this looks like mine right here. Lay that up on top. A little unripe heirloom tomatoes, that goes on top. Let's get some of the ranch dressing on top of that. Nice pieces of bacon, we'll throw that up on top. A little bit of that quick pickled slaw that I did. Look at that thing, huh? Right, let's cut into this thing and take a look at it. Nice brioche bun, going right through. Tell me that's not the cover of a magazine. Here we go. There's so many textures, so much flavor, the juiciness of that burger. This is the kind of burger you want to cook at home.
We're doing a Creole cheesy breakfast skillet with andouille sausage. We got some shrimp, you know, add a little low country flair in there. Eggs and put some cheese on top, melted. Then we're gonna put this Creole sauce that my mom is making on top. So I got some mayonnaise in there. I need you to add some Worcestershire, say Worcestershire.
Some brown sauce.
Some Worcestershire sauce. Got some hot sauce, got some sweet paprika, got more of that Creole seasoning.
Okay.
Got a little garlic, got some chives. I cut up some dill pickles in there. We got some Creole mustard.
Just mix it up together.
Mix them up. I am just roughly chopping a half of a red bell pepper and a green bell pepper.
Oh, that's good.
Let me be the judge.
I think I might put a little more of that in it.
Little Creole mustard.
What do you think? Make you want to dance. What I always say, when I'm cooking, have that music on. Make you put your foot in it.
All right. Well, that's good. While I go over here and get the veggies sauteed, I need you to crack 6 eggs and add that milk to it and whisk it up.
Okay. All right.
So I have a cast iron skillet here that's really hot. So I'm gonna add some butter. And this is a well-seasoned cast iron skillet. I mean, so if I were to put anything in there, it wouldn't stick anyway, but just like to add a little bit of fat to it. Add my onion and peppers. I'm just gonna let this cook down until it gets slightly softened. I'm going to grab some of this salt from you and help release some of this moisture in the veggies. So while this sautés down, I'm gonna get started on my house seasoning. Equal parts, sweet paprika, some garlic powder, teaspoon of onion powder, a little black pepper.
About a pinch of salt?
About a teaspoon of salt, yeah. Okay. Let me check on my veggies.
Okay.
You know what? Because I have to cook the andouille sausage, I'm gonna add that in there right now too. We use sausage a lot in our recipes in the Gullah community. We use a smoked sausage, which is pretty much similar, just andouille sausage is a little bit more spicy. Can you do me a favor? Can you put some of that house seasoning on the shrimp?
Sure.
You want that flavor in every bite. So when you bite into the sausage, it's like a burst of flavor. When you bite into the shrimp, it's gonna be a burst of flavor. And I'm just cooking this until the sausage gets a little brown. Okay, so that looks great. Let's add the shrimp now.
When I say it smells so good, I can't wait.
Is it saying something to you?
Ooh, it's like, oh, eat me.
These are medium-sized shrimp, so it's gonna take about 3 to 4 minutes until it turns opaque. Adding in my clove of garlic. The shrimp look just about done. Pour the eggs in.
Okay.
I'm gonna turn the heat down. The thing about eggs, you don't have to cook them on high heat. Just fold it in. You want more big, fluffy clouds than overly scrambled eggs. That's one thing I can't stand, overly scrambled egg. Let's turn the heat off, take the cheese.
What kind of cheese is that?
White cheddar. All right, so I have my oven set to broil. Just wanna pop this in here for a few seconds until the cheese melts.
Yeah, I see the cheese melting.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, Ma, look at that.
How pretty is that?
Mm-hmm. Drizzle it with a little bit of this Creole sauce. Put some of the green onion on top.
Okay. How pretty is that?
Mm-hmm.
Now we're gonna make a gratin of cauliflower and goat cheese and some other cheeses. And this is actually a very simple recipe. Cauliflower is one of those ingredients that, in my opinion, it's sort of like, it's come back in vogue almost. It's sort of a retro vegetable. It used to be something that, you know, we ate a long time ago, a lot of, and then it sort of went away. And now, like all the trendy restaurants, they're using cauliflower in really interesting and flavorful ways. Just gonna cut the florets by hand, just kind of pick them apart. And, you know, one head of cauliflower goes a long way. Now, what I'm gonna do is just kind of coat the cauliflower with some heavy cream. We're not gonna fill up the casserole with heavy cream. We're just gonna sort of give the cauliflower a good coating because the cauliflower isn't actually gonna absorb the cream, so we're just gonna coat it and glaze it. Then we're gonna take some Monterey Jack cheese. Okay. And then we're gonna take some Parmesan cheese as well. Some grated Parmesan, okay? Some black pepper. Some salt. And then we're just gonna mix that around. Now we're gonna top this off with some goat cheese. Now, if you don't wanna use goat cheese, if goat cheese isn't, you're not a goat cheese fan, that's cool. You can just take this gratin right now and put it in the oven. You can serve without goat cheese. But for me, I love goat cheese. I love the flavor of it. And so I'm just gonna use a really like light flavored, fresh goat cheese to put on top. Just crumble it up and just kind of put it on top. Let's go to the oven. About 400 degrees for about a half an hour, and we'll have some goat cheese gratin. And that's what you want to see, bubbling. Take the goat cheese out and let it set. You know, for like a good 10 or 15 minutes, you want it to cool down, because if you try to eat this right now, it'd be pretty hot.
Cheesy stuffed pasta. So I started with a whole bunch of whole milk ricotta. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. Very exciting in that bowl. Exciting. And then a whole bunch of pesto. I'm just gonna add half this amount. This is a stunner of a recipe, and it's great for friends if you're having people over for dinner. It's great for a weeknight, but it does take some assembly, so you might want to save it for some of those special people in your life and not just your teenage boys. So I added salt, pepper, pesto to the ricotta, and I'm gonna stir together. And then I've also got some grated fontina cheese, very creamy and wonderful. And I'm gonna add half of that to the ricotta mixture. It's kind of fun when you just use 8 ingredients. You can then concentrate your time and effort on the actual assembly and, you know, cooking, baking of the recipe. Okay, so that's all there is to the ricotta mixture. Okay, now it's time to stuff the pasta, but before I do that, I'm gonna stuff this piping bag. Okay, gosh, that's about as full as a piping bag can be. So, I'm gonna snip off the end. It's much easier to fill this pasta using a piping bag. Hold on, I have to switch hands. So for the pasta, I am using Fieri, which is like oversized rigatoni. Have you ever seen pasta this huge in your life? But the good thing is it's big enough to stuff. So I'm just gonna put the piping bag in and squeeze, can you see that? Mm-hmm. Until it's totally stuffed with the ricotta mixture. And then I have a springform pan that is usually reserved for cheesecakes. But what you do is you stand up the pasta so it's standing up. Now, you can probably imagine I'm gonna do this exact same thing with the rest of the pasta and the rest of the ricotta, and I am gonna fill this springform pan. It's gonna take me about 10 minutes, so I'll see you on the other side. Last one. Watch, Alex. This is very exciting. Get in there. Can you believe this? Oh, this is my kind of dish, let me just tell you. Pasta, cheese, pesto, seriously my favorite things, and Alex's too, for that matter. So one of the 8 ingredients is a jar of Alfredo sauce, and then the rest of the pesto, and then I'm gonna stir it around with a little bit of the pasta water from when I made the paccheri. So it's a little bit liquidy, but that's good because it's gonna go over the pasta and get inside, and watch what happens. Ready? It's gonna go down into the cracks and crevices. And without that pasta water addition, it would be a little too thick and it might kind of collect on top, and then there'd be problems. But isn't this great? Usually springform pans are for cheesecake. They're not just for cheesecake anymore. And try to get all around the edges. Can you see? Mm-hmm. Everywhere you see room. My goodness. This should be a crime, to be honest. So then the rest of the fontina. But how good would this be for company? And you just pull it out of the oven and just watch your guests faint. But you could serve this like with a beautiful Caesar, or you could serve it with like prime rib or beef tenderloin. So good. All right, let's go to the oven, Alex. Woo! Goodness. You wanna bake this at 400 degrees for about 30 to 35 minutes until it's bubbly and luscious and wonderful. Now this is my kind of cheesecake right here. The cheese is melted and brown around the edges.
So bubbly.
So, are you feeling lucky today?
I'm kind of nervous about
I'm a little
how
nervous
this is
too,
gonna
but
turn
that's
out.
the whole point of this dish, is to like untether it and just unleash it on the world.
Do it.
All right, here we go. Ready? Oh, it's gorgeous. You could leave it in the pan and just like scoop it out. But to me, it looks like something that needs to be sort of sliced in a wedge. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I guess.
Alex is like, I don't care, just give me some of it.
As long as you give me a helping.
It really does cut like a cake.
Wow.
Seriously, this is so cool. Okay, oh boy. All right, we're just gonna try. Oh, no. Well, that was a fun idea while it lasted, but here we go. I pulled it off too soon. It needed about 10 more minutes to just sit and really become one. But it really doesn't matter, because what's beautiful about this dish is this enormous pasta stuffed with all the good stuff of life. All right? Look at this.
I think I need that.
Can you see
Yum.
how beautiful that looks? I am gonna take a bite. And just 8 ingredients. This is not like a complicated list of ingredients. Ready?
First thing I'm gonna make is this mac and cheese, which is traditional mac and cheese with the volume turned up. So to make real mac and cheese, as opposed to the stuff in the box, first thing I want to do is make a bechamel sauce, which is really a fancy word for white sauce. So I'm going to heat 1 quart of milk, and then in another pan, I'm going to melt 6 tablespoons of butter, and add half a cup of flour, and cook them together for about 2 minutes. While I'm whisking it, you don't want the butter to burn. This is the kind of sauce you use in a gratin, which sounds fancy in French, but it's perfect for mac and cheese. Okay, now I just want to slowly add the hot milk, and you'll see the whole thing becomes a really nice, thick, white sauce. Add it whisking. Actually, I think you can just, whoa, that's hot. How about forget slowly, just dump it all in. Okay, there, that's fast. And now off the heat, I'm just gonna add some flavorings. A tablespoon of salt. It seems like a lot, but remember we're putting a lot of pasta in this. Half a teaspoon of pepper, and half a teaspoon of nutmeg, which is sort of a classic gratin seasoning. I thought would be really good with mac and cheese. Just whisk it together. I actually think nutmeg brings out the flavor in the cheese, which brings me to the next thing, cheese. Lots of good cheese. So the first thing I'm going to do is put in 12 ounces of good Swiss Gruyere. It's a really nutty cheese, and it's wonderful in mac and cheese. Okay, a little piece left over for the cook. The second cheese I use is cheddar, and I'm going to use 8 ounces of good cheddar. Now that would have taken a lot of time if I'd done it by hand. Lots of cheese. Okay, then I'm going to put the cheese into the sauce. A lot of cheese in this sauce. But that's why it tastes so good. Okay, just stir it in. So I'm going to combine this now with macaroni, which I cooked. Put that in a bowl. Add the sauce. It's about a pound of macaroni or cavatappi. Okay, mix that all together. Boy, this looks like enough for a crowd. In my experience, everybody loves it, so they eat a lot. So I'm going to pour this into a dish, and I'm going to do sliced tomatoes and breadcrumbs on the top. Gives a nice little crunch and delicious flavor with it. So it really is macaroni and cheese, but for a party. Okay, into the dish. Now, how bad could that be? So, just right on top, really simple. Okay, right on top of the tomatoes and the mac and cheese. I'm going to bake it at 375 for 30 minutes, and it's going to be bubbly and delicious. It's mac and cheese, but better.